you are into movie-related discussions, you come to the right place. Who am I, you ask? I am the Wiz, and I'm here today with...
Kim Shactman.
Kim, how are you today?
Good.
Heard you had a little bit of a rough week. You're kind of glad it's Friday. Kind of, you know.
TGIF.
Yeah, girl.
I am very glad it is Friday.
All right. Okay. So we are here reviewing the film Good Time, the 2017 crime thriller starring Robert Pattinson, directed by the Safdie Brothers. Kim, we learned last week that you are really into true crime. So
yes.
Why don't you go ahead and talk about what are your favorite true crime movies?
Oh, God. Well, for true crime, I mean, for me, it's more about the documentaries, right?
Oh, okay.
Like,
cool.
Right? Like, that's more what it's about. Like, and the problem is like, I'll watch them and then I forget what I've watched because I've seen so many of them. But basically, I literally just go on like Netflix and Amazon Prime and all the different streaming services, and I type in true crime, and then I watch literally every single documentary there is.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I've seen most of them. But when it comes to movies, it's harder for me to get into crime movies because a lot of times they're not true crime.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I flock to the documentaries because I know it's real.
Because
right?
when people are suffering, you want to feel the suffering from real people. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, like let's just do this the right way, you know?
Good Lord. Okay, I get that, and I guess if we go on if I make the decision to do a documentary at one point, it's going to be a true crime on your end, correct?
It has to be.
Okay. There is one.
So take notes.
Yes. So there's going to be one when that happens that I think that we should watch, and I'm gonna want to know your opinion on it. But yeah.
Okay.
True crime is something that or crime movies have not been something of a big thing that I'm into. But it's when it's done right where I think they become very special. I would say, well, first off, you can't talk about crime movies without The Godfather. You just can't.
And I've still never seen that movie.
Well, there we go. No, actually, you know, I am shocked that even people who are film lovers that have not seen that movie. But then again, there are plenty of films that you would expect me being a big film junkie that I have seen and I have not seen. But, like, The Godfather is just one where I hear, like, someone who says, oh, yeah, I'm a big film mark. I haven't seen The Godfather. So, oh, okay. Yeah. Sure.
I just never, like, sat down to watch it, because it's pretty lengthy, isn't it?
It is a 3-hour movie, but I will say this. The first time I saw it, when I heard it was 3 hours, I was like, ooh. But, man, does it go by. It really goes by in that movie.
I'll just check that out.
Yeah. But, yeah, like, I do enjoy crime movies every once in a while, but I think my issue with it is that there is a formula to it, usually, and you see it once, and you expect the formula, and a lot of movies just don't stray from that formula enough, is my feeling when it comes to crime movies. Some do. I mean, we can go with our Pulp Fictions, our Godfathers, and Jackie Brown's. Jackie Brown is like an all-time favorite of mine, but I think that's where I stand with crime. So, but then again, people point out romance is very formulaic too, and it is to a certain point. So I'll concede that, but that's my feeling on crime movies. All right, so why don't we get into the review of Good Time, starring Robert Pattinson, directed by the Safdie Brothers. Kim, I guess I just have one question for you.
Okay.
Were you disappointed that the song "Good Time" by Carly Rae Jepsen was not in this movie? Because that took away 4 stars right away. They had an apt opportunity.
Oh no!
And when I didn't hear I just was like, "What a waste!
What a junk movie!"
God damn it!
Oh God, I do have a lot to comment on the music though. Oh.
Okay, go right ahead then. Let's just go with it.
Oh, it was awful.
Okay.
It was despicable. It was like I thought I was watching a video game, and then I felt like I mean, I don't know about you. It's terrible. I'm also watching a lot of these films on like a 13-year-old TV, so I don't know if it's just my TV is like messed up or if it was the actual film. Like, the volume of the music was so loud compared to the dialogue, and I was just like, I hate this. I thought the music was way like over dramatic for like what the scenes were, and it just didn't fit.
I think the music...
It was distracting.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's okay.
I think the music its full intention was to be as stressful as possible.
Right.
And even with that being said, I don't think it achieves that for me. The thing that I keep hearing online by reviews and other people have seen it is like it's a panic attack come to life 100 times over. And I want to say, from somebody who's had panic attacks for a long time, I don't think these people know what a panic attack is.
No, they don't. Because
Okay.
I've had a decent amount of panic attacks in my life as well.
Which,
and
honestly,
definitely not.
which, honestly, good for them. I don't want them to know.
Right.
But when I watch this, I'm like, this is not stressful at all.
No.
But
this is just obnoxious.
I don't think it's obnoxious. I think they were going for a tone.
I could tell what they were trying to achieve, but it just did not come off that way for me anyway, like whatsoever. Like I was like, okay, I get what you're trying to do, but it's too much.
I think the issue that I have with it being stressful is, in order for it to be stressful, I think you would have to actually feel for the character to a certain extent to be stressed out. Be like, oh my God, what's this guy going through? This poor man. And Robert Pattinson's character, Connie, is just not that type of person that you want to root for.
Right.
He's actually, like, let's get to the story, okay?
Yeah.
Connie and his little brother are thieves, and they're I guess, bank robbers. And after a botched bank robbery, the little brother gets caught, who I think has a mental disorder.
He's, like, disabled. Yeah.
Yeah. The brother gets into jail in the beginning of the movie, and and then Connie has to find a way to get him out. I feel bad for the brother, don't get me wrong, because they do a good job of showing that the brother, I think, has a number of issues that may or may not have been caused by either his mental disability or by his brother in this circumstance.
Or even by his grandmother.
Sure. They don't really get into the grandmother too much.
No, but like a smidge they do.
Yeah. But making the main character Connie in this, which is Robert Pattinson's character, I think was a bad move in this circumstance, because in order for the stress elevation to work, you have to feel for that character. And at no point was I looking at this guy going, not that I don't care, because I care about the little brother, but with him, I'm like, you did it to your fucking self, dude. Like,
you're a loser.
Essentially. And I don't know how to put this with Connie in this movie, but without you feeling for that character, the feeling of stress and the feeling of anxiety just isn't there, because if you don't care about what's going on screen, what he's doing,
it's not going to make you feel stressed.
Right. Like, here is my thoughts throughout the film when watching this. What are you doing? Wait, what now? Like, huh? Like, why are you... That's not a good idea. That's not going to work out.
You're an idiot.
Yeah. You're a fucking moron.
Yeah. You're a dumbass. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the conceit of the film, too, is that throughout the film is that Connie has to save his brother from something happening. And it shows in the beginning of the film, this happens before the credits roll, is that the little brother gets savagely beaten in prison. A thing in the film that happens, it's not really a spoiler, but a thing in the film that happens that kind of elevates the stress level for me, I think, in this movie, is that somewhere before the halfway mark of the film, the therapist that he was talking to in the beginning of the film is there helping him.
Yes.
Which, at that point, my mind went to, okay, then, so this guy's going to help get him out. Because that's just how...
With, like, the justice system, pretty much.
Right.
With the court and everything, and the judge, and whatever.
Yeah, so he is fine at that point. So at that point, when you get into that point of the film, now it becomes a tale of the brother, Connie,
right,
basically going through these doomed motions where he's going to get himself into some serious trouble.
Because he's assuming his brother, like, doesn't have any help, or in prison. Like
Right.
he's just assuming that.
So, but when that scene happens, where it shows the therapist trying to help get him out, it kind of just de-elevates the stress, the intended stress effect by
Right.
loads, because now you're just looking at a guy flailing trying to find a solution that doesn't need one.
Right.
I think there's a lot of issues with the way that the story runs. Although I think I'm going to disagree with you on the overall point of the film. I actually ended up somewhat liking it. I'm not saying it's a great movie. I think there's some definite flaws, but I think we should get into... I'll get into why I think I would actually recommend it a little later on. But anything more you want to add to that, or...
No, I mean, I'm very curious on,
Okay.
what stood out for you, but I don't know if you wanted to get into directing first. We can start there.
So we can get into directing. So the Safdie Brothers, from what I have read, because I haven't seen Uncut Gems, and I haven't seen Daddy Longlegs either, is that this is their style. Very kinetic, very stressful, pretty loud, colorful in certain circumstances, and have characters that are very, not just gray, but very immoral to a certain extent. And those can work. Those can work in film if you portray them in the right way or do the story in a right way.
Now I understand. Like, I did see most of Uncut Gems.
Okay.
And I didn't like it.
Okay.
So maybe I just don't like their style.
That's possible.
Which makes sense because I forgot that they directed Uncut Gems as well.
Yeah.
So because it is a very, like, now that you say that, I'm like, oh wow, yeah, that is a very similar style to this movie, Good Time. Like, same type of, like, louder music and like you said, like, immoral characters and stuff. So
yeah, thoroughly unlikable characters.
Yeah.
I think is what they are into. I think Daddy Longlegs is the same way. I actually think the direction is good visually, and I actually think that orally, the audio isn't bad, but I just don't think it hits the right connection. I think that the brothers have the right means of what they're doing for this movie, but I just don't think I think it's the writing really that doesn't help this movie along. Because if this was a character that was more well-meaning and was much more likable and much more of, I would say, no, I think good person might be the wrong way to put it, but just a person I can root for, I think that this would have been much more effective with the directing that they were given. This had the feel of a crime movie directed as a very intense war movie. But that intensity doesn't work unless you feel that connection. Like, if you didn't care about Tom Hanks' character in Saving Private Ryan, I don't think you would really dive into the movie of Saving Private Ryan with the way it was shot without that.
I think I'd have to agree with you there. Like, I feel like the storyline there was no, like, connection. Like, and there was no emotional connection for me to the main character based on the writing. So it was like, I don't think the directing was horrible. I think it was fine for what it was, and I don't know. I just didn't love the story as a whole. So I guess the writing flopped for me. The direction was fine.
Okay.
It wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible.
So let me ask you a question.
Okay, ask away.
Can you enjoy movies where the main character is detestable? Can you name a movie that you have liked where you can say that the main character is a terrible human being?
Didn't we just watch a film where there was a main character that was terrible and we liked it? I can't remember. I feel like we did.
But yeah, like some people just have that issue where if you don't like the main character,
not usually, like probably most of the time, but I mean, because they make it hard. I mean, obviously they make it hard to like the main character. That's the whole point. So I guess.
Unless Prisoners is it, I don't think we have watched a movie where you like the movie and the character is detestable.
Thinking of something else.
Okay, so you don't think that's the case, though, is what you're...
Oh, I think it was Prisoners.
Oh.
It was,
Hugh Jackman's character.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to push back a little on that by saying the difference I would have with this character and Hugh Jackman's character is that with Hugh Jackman's character, the horrible thing that happens wasn't his fault. Whereas,
yeah, that's true. That's true.
But yeah, like I think that's a lot of people do have that issue. Like, if I don't like the main character, I'm not going to like the movie. I've had to divorce myself a little from that. Was me in the beginning in this.
Oh, and Die Hard.
You didn't like John McClane?
No, the character, one of the main. Well, who was?
Oh, Hans Gruber. Okay.
Yeah, him.
Okay.
Yeah, I loved him, and like he's evil, and he was. I mean, he's not a main character, but he was. He was like a second. I don't know.
No, I get what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that tends to be an issue with a lot of people when they watch these types of movies where literally no character is likable, and they're like, I have no one to root for. I'm like, well, you don't, not supposed to, but okay, I get what you're saying. But
right. No, I mean, I think I'm probably like 50-50 with that. Like,
okay.
Yeah, I don't know. This movie, I was just like, like I was kind of rooting for the brother, right? Like, I felt bad for him, so I guess. Yeah, I wasn't really rooting for the main character.
Well, the little brother is not in the movie that much.
No, he's not as much as you would think he should be.
No, and we'll get into that in spoilers.
Yeah.
But, when it comes to the writing and directing in this, like, I think the writing did the movie a disservice, but I think a lot of people really gravitate towards the feel, the mood, and the kinetic energy of the movie. And they kind of excuse the way the characters are in this. And this is also a style of filmmaking, too, where all the characters are incredibly flawed. But when you do this, you have to give something in the movie that makes you want to identify and root for this person. With Connie, even though it's noble that he wants to help his brother, I think the main reason why he wants to is not altruistic. It is, I need my partner.
Well, it's like a selfish reason.
Yes. With that being the only reason, and me able to extrapolate that I think he's doing this for more selfish reasons than anything, I think that hurts the character and hurts the film to a certain extent. Performances. There's only really one to go by here as Robert Pattinson, and I think he's pretty good in this movie.
So are the directors in the film?
One of the directors is the little brother.
Okay, I thought the other character was also one of the brothers, but I guess I was wrong. I don't know.
Is it the other character due of spoilers?
Yes.
Yeah. So no, that's not. That's Buddy Duress.
Oh, okay.
The other brother is not an actor. Benny Safdie plays Nick in this, the little brother in this.
Yeah.
So performances. Let's talk about Benny then. Benny Safdie was pretty good as the little brother in this.
I thought he did a good job.
Yeah. Again, not in it that much, but
right.
He's good.
Like, believable, right? That
yes.
He has like a disability and he's battling things mentally.
He does a good job with this role, even though he's in it for I think 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But I think the main performance is Robert Pattinson, and I think he's good in this. I think he actually does a good job.
I have to agree with you there. I think he did good with what he was given, and yeah, he plays a really good douchebag.
Oh yeah, like it is interesting to see an actor that has cut his teeth on being very lovable, very likable, somebody who the audience has to root for, and then have him play this type of character and nail it. He nails it. So
he did. I have to agree with you there. And all I kept thinking about was like, oh my god, like he was the main character in Twilight. Like
I know, and people put that against him. It's
no, but then like I see him in this, and I'm like, whoa, that was like night and day.
Yeah,
like, it's crazy.
No, that's why I think he's incredibly talented, and he deserves the praise that he gets in this. But of course, most people when they think of him, they're like, oh god, the Twilight guy. I'm like,
that's all I think of when I think of his name.
And same thing with his co-star Kristen Stewart.
Yes, thank you.
Same thing with Kristen Stewart, and it took her to do a lot of indie roles for her to get out of that shell. But she's also fantastic. But,
yeah, I really like her too.
Yeah, but Robert Pattinson, I think, was pretty good in this movie. I think he pulled that performance well, even though the way that the writing is just not great. That's it for performances, unless you really want to get into Jennifer Jason Leigh's like few minutes,
like 2 seconds in the movie.
Yeah.
I was like, and I like her. Like,
I do
I've seen
too.
her in other films, and I think she's pretty good. But I was like, oh, I thought she was going to be in the film more. I was surprised.
We're going to get the spoilers for Good Time, the 2017 crime thriller directed by the Safdie Brothers. If you have not seen it, you should come back when you're ready. We're getting the spoilers in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So,
I'm going to let you begin with this, because usually I begin with spoilers. So
okay.
I'm going to let you dive in.
There is one thing that you said when you were telling me how much you did not like this movie a few minutes ago, and it's that the film is kind of unbelievable. It's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I think I know where you're coming from with this, and this will due to what happens in the middle of the movie. So what happens is Connie goes to the hospital at which his brother is at. He goes into a room and saves his brother, and sneaks him out through an accessor ride to a random person's house. Somehow allows him in, even though they don't know him.
Right.
Which, yeah, I agree that's unbelievable.
That's ridiculous.
Okay. Okay.
Like, but at the same... So, okay. Here's my problem. Is, like, I can take and tolerate the whole, like, sneaking the brother out of the hospital, right? Okay, maybe that could happen. You know, things like that happen with babies, right? Like, where people take the wrong baby out of the hospital, shit like that. I don't know. So I guess maybe it could happen if, like, the person's face is bandaged and he's trying to sneak them out, whatever. To be let into, like, a random person's home. But at the same time, I think about it and I'm like, well, the people that they're associating with are, like, super ghetto. So they just don't really seem to care. Like, it's weird. Like, watched this film with my husband and it was, like, so bad because he's like, oh... Does this remind you of any of your ex-boyfriends? Because I used to hang around some pretty trashy people when I was younger. And I'm like, you know what? It kind of does. And so, like, for me to, like, you know, think of that, I'm like, oh, wow. Like, you know, we used to hang out at, like, people's houses that, like, we barely knew.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so I'm like, well, I guess maybe it could happen. But my thing is like, letting them stay as long as they did.
Yes.
I guess, is like the whole thing behind it. Like, okay, maybe they'd let them in, let them use the phone, let the kid rest, whatever, because he's cold and whatever. But then, like, the mother, like, goes to bed, like, knocks herself out with medication, and, like, there's this, like, 16-year-old girl just sitting on the couch with him, and he's, like, dyeing his hair, and she doesn't think anything of it. Like, it's just so weird.
Yeah.
Like, so far-fetched. I'm like, what?
Now, someone probably will mention something that's not as far-fetched as you think, but I kind of agree. But I just kind of went with it at that point. I was like, okay, I see what you're... I guess I see what you're doing here. But the twist of what happens in this movie is that the person that he took, that he thought was his brother, who is all bandaged up in the face because he got beat up pretty badly in the prison.
Right, like almost like unrecognizable.
Right. So the person that he got turned out not to be his brother.
I was like, that sucks.
Which...
After all that, trying to get him out.
Yeah. Which I was curious as to what the movie was going to do with this, because the main conceit of the film was he was trying to break him out of prison, or get him out of prison.
Right.
So I thought this was going to be, he was going to try and do a bunch of odd jobs, odd criminal jobs, to get the money to bail him out. But they went this route, and I was like, okay, this is interesting. How are they going to do this? And when they actually got him out, I was like, what? It was like... So what the hell is this movie going to be? And then when that happened, I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
So my question with that, specifically, yes, they go through the movie as to how he did it, but then they show him throughout the film, throughout that scene, looking at different charts. Oh, this is this person, this is that person.
Right. Like he was like checking to make sure he had the right person. And then he didn't have the right person.
That's my question, though. Why didn't he check the chart? He never did.
Right. That's what makes it unrealistic.
Yeah, so I'm like, wait a minute, hold on.
Maybe because he didn't have time because there was a cop sitting in front of it? I don't know.
Sure, that's a possibility.
Maybe? Oh.
But, like,
still, like, okay, the cop left, so why wouldn't he check the chart before he goes in the room? Like, just stupid. I don't know. I didn't like that part.
And the character does more and more immoral things as the movie goes on.
Yes,
so.
like, after the fact, it's like, okay, so then he goes to this random person's house, whatever, and then he starts making out with a 16-year-old girl so she wouldn't watch the TV because he was plastered all over the news. And I'm just like, leave this little 16-year-old girl out of it, creep.
Right. But
again, I know why they're doing that, because they're just trying to show that he's a dirtbag, right?
Yeah, pretty much. They're trying to show his immorality in this, and how he kind of cocks her into doing those things too. Using her car or their car or whatever. And I think the part that the movie was really starting to lose me was when they were at the amusement park. Yes, I agree. I was just like, oh my god, what is this? Like, come on. Like, it was kind of like draggy for me at that part. It just wasn't moving a little bit faster than I would have liked it to. My stretching of credulity of the movie, where I was like, yeah, this is kind of realistic, but I'm kind of digging it a little bit. It was at that point where I was like, oh, okay, now you've gone a little too far here. Like, I don't know what the street prices for acid is. I don't know either if there is an expiration date for acid either, but I would assume... I have no idea. Yeah, I don't know either. But I would assume that stuff isn't as potent as it once was, if it's in that Sprite thing. Because from what I know of like those type of bottles, even if you put it in real tight, air does come out of it. So yeah, the sequence that happens there with them trying to find the Sprite bottle and the money, and then dealing with the security guard. All I could say is, I'm like, it's the guy from Captain Phillips. Oh, God. and my husband's like, oh, I'm really glad he got another role. He's gotten some other roles. I know. I've just never seen him in anything but Captain Phillips. So I was just like, oh wow. Not a trained actor either. He's actually a really good. I think you told me that before. Yeah, that sequence I had a few problems with too. So not that they attacked him, and not that he made him ingest a shit ton of acid. After that. Yeah. But my issue is with the cops in this, where the cops come in and Robert Pattinson's character is like, oh yeah, he's in here, blah, blah, blah. I mean, they just like automatically take him away. They don't ask him any questions. Like, they don't ask Robert Pattinson any questions. Like, they're just like, all right, thanks, bye. Like, it's so quick. Like, no thorough investigation. Maybe I'm wrong on this, but shouldn't you ask for some sort of identification when it comes to, like, or something to show, hey, what's your badge number, or what's your whatever? Like, it just wasn't realistic. Like, I'm like... And then they take that guy away and the little girl away because the girl was patrolling the area. Lingering outside. Wondering what the hell was going on. And then they take the patrol car. Yeah. Like, oh my god. And they take the patrol car to the guy's apartment. Yeah, the security guard's apartment that they put a bunch of acid in. Yeah. So let me ask you something. Does that apartment look like the apartment of somebody who is a security guard at a... No. Yeah. So that was my other thing. I was like, wait. And it looked like it was decorated from, like, what, the 70s? Like, honestly, weird. To me, it looked like a mid-level executive's apartment. It was like, oh, okay. Like, you're moving up, but you like nice things, but, not that nice. And the non-brother is like, I'm just going to call him that, the non-brother. He's like, wow, this is a really nice apartment. Like, what the fuck? It's just so weird. Unrealistic. Right. And then he was able to pacify the dog by having him sniff the jacket. Yeah, no. That would never happen. That dog would have ripped his face off. So yeah, I agree that a lot of unbelievable things happened in the film, in this movie, and it kind of, after a certain point, I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, there was like a turning point, and I think that turning point was like the amusement park, and even like a little bit when he's in the hospital trying to, take his brother. I think right after that is really where it went downhill for me. Yeah, I think the amusement park sequence was that with me too. But I don't think it hurt me. It hurt as much for my enjoyment as this. It was just went from, oh, this is good, to, oh, okay. Why did they do that? Yeah. And then, like, at the end of the whole apartment scene, and then, like,
he's running out with the bottle, and then he gets like caught by the cops. They finally catch up to him when he's running, and then the guy falls off the building. I'm like, what the hell is going on?
He tried.
Is it because it's because he was trying to escape the window, right? And he just like accidentally fell?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Yeah.
He's talked about in the film that he did not want to go back to jail. He's going to end up doing a hard time. And he was trying to get away from the cops, and I guess his idea was to climb. And they allude to it in the sequence in the park, is that he has a bad shoulder. So that's not a surprise to me that he fell. But so yeah, like when it comes to the story and everything with I think there's several problems. Is one, the believability gets more and more ridiculous as the film goes on.
Right.
And that the intended feeling that you're supposed to have with the film, I think gets muted by the fact that the character itself is just completely unlikable and just not that equipped for what he's doing.
Right.
And you can make a movie work like that where the guy is clearly over his head and doesn't know what to do. But in order to do that, you have to make that character likable. And he's just not. I kind of was like, okay, to a certain extent, until he started making out with the 16 or hooking up with the 16-year-old. Was like, oh, okay, never mind.
Yeah.
Like, that's not happening.
Yeah. Exactly. It was like right in that section of the film where it just started to just be pretty ridiculous.
Yeah.
I do like the way they ended it, though, with the brother and the scene with him basically being back, like, in a... I guess it's a... I don't know.
It's a program.
A program, yeah, that's exactly what it is. Because I was like, it's not really a psychiatric hospital. It's more for, like, people with disabilities.
I wouldn't be surprised if that is in a psychiatric hospital, but yeah, it's a program for people with this condition. And it's kind of a sweet ending, but then again, this is the...
I thought it was sad, because I feel like he was finally realizing, like, my family is no good.
I don't think you can realize that at all.
You didn't think so?
No. The kid, no, or Nick, I don't think he's mentally equipped to do that.
Well, at the end, it has them like she's doing the like, cross the room if this or cross the room if that, and they say something about family members in like a negative light, and he's standing there the whole time, and then he finally starts crossing the room when she talks about like negative items with your family.
Oh, okay.
So that's what made me think that, like, where he was like, oh wow, like
sure.
My family really did a number on me,
Sure. I mean, I think he just lacks that self-awareness, though. He might say that, oh, this is what my family did, whatever. I just don't think he has the mental equipment to actually process that stuff in his head.
Well, I just thought it was interesting. I do, but like, I just thought it was interesting that they had him. Like, the entire, probably, like, the 6 times she says things non-related to the family, he doesn't move. He just stands there, and everyone else is crossing the room. And then she says something negative about, like, I forget what she says. It's like, so-and-so family member did this, and it's, like, in a negative light, and then he finally starts moving.
Yeah.
So that's what makes me think, like, something's registering there, right? Like,
It
might not be the whole picture, but something is kind of registering his head.
Sure. I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah. That's why I thought the ending was sad, but I thought it was whatever.
No, I get what you're saying. The thing that I remember about it is that the therapist saying that Connie did the right thing. And from what that sounds like is that Connie just didn't fight and just went to jail. And
yeah.
I think that's kind of where I was like, oh, well.
Well, it's kind of like, what kind of ammo does he have to fight with? Like,
yeah.
He did everything,
But that character at that point is selfish enough to probably use his brother as a pawn to get out. But I think that the illusion was that he just didn't do that at that. You want to get into final thoughts?
Let's do it.
All right, let's get into final thoughts for good time. I'll go first. I went into the film being excited. It's my first Safdie Brothers film that I have seen, and I've heard the great things about it. And I came out of it wondering exactly what people were going gaga about with this. This has a rating of 4 out of 5 at Letterboxd and has a rating of 7.3 at IMDb, and it's got an 80 as a review score at Metacritic. So this is actually a very much liked film. And I just kind of have to ask why that is. I get the performance of Robert Pattinson. He's actually very good in this movie, and I will agree with that. But I think the story falls apart as soon as certain things start happening in the film. And the twist that happens towards the end was an oh shit kind of twist. But
I thought it was, yeah.
But I think it really undermined the movie at certain points as well. Like, I think it just...
Well, it just starts unraveling at that part and in a negative way. Like, it's
yes.
like, what?
That being said, I think Pattinson's performance is good. I think the direction is good. Oh, Pattinson's great in this. The direction is good, but I think the script undermined everything when it came to the movie. I am going to give this 2 stars out of 5. I was debating on 2.5, but I think at this point, looking through, thinking about everything, I'm going to give this I'm not going to recommend this, really. It makes me curious as to what Uncut Gems is going to be like for me, because I've heard nothing but great things about that movie.
Yeah,
and
but see, I told you I didn't love that movie.
Yeah,
so
I know.
I don't know if I'm curious if you will.
Yeah, I will be curious, because I actually like Adam Sandler in Punch Drunk Love. I think he actually can be a really good actor.
Yeah, but I like him in Punch Drunk Love too, but I didn't like him in Uncut Gems.
Okay, we'll see about that. So, 2 stars for me for Good Time. If you want to see a good Robert Pattinson performance, sure, go watch it, but he's got plenty of others that you can check out too. Like, it's funny, I would recommend The Batman more than I recommend this for a good Robert Pattinson performance.
Oh yeah, you were telling me that he's really good in that.
So 2 stars for me for Good Time. It's
really funny because I'm giving it 2 stars as well.
Okay.
I felt the same way. The music drove me crazy. I hated it. I was so hyper focused on the music too that it was harder for me to see Robert Pattinson's performance shine through. Even though I could see it, it was making me just like disgusted with the film as a whole. I felt like I was watching a video game. And again, I think that's just their style, and I just don't like their style. And then it was just really unrealistic as it got towards the middle of the film and unraveling there. But yes, I do think I agree with you. Robert Pattinson's performance was very well done, especially seeing him from Twilight to this. It's like night and day. And for an actor to be able to do that is really like bravo, right? Like great job, because that's not easy to do. 2 stars out of 5. I wouldn't recommend the film. I think that it could have been better based on the script. Did not like it as much as I wanted to.
Yeah. I've heard really good things about The Lighthouse, which has got Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe. So
I haven't seen that either.
I've heard that is really good, but that's like a hardcore horror movie. So I know you're into horror movies, so you might be into that.
Maybe I'll watch that.
I still think he is a really good Batman. Like, he's not good as Bruce Wayne. I think he was bad as Bruce Wayne, but in the Batman suit, he was surprisingly good. Like, I was actually kind of shocked by how good he was in that. So,
interesting.
I would probably recommend those 2 for you there. But yeah, 2 stars for both of us for Good Time. I'm disappointed. That sucks. Like, I
mean, the beginning of the film, I was getting kind of excited. I'm like, oh, this looks like it's going to be pretty good. And then, again, as we went through, I'm like, what the hell are they doing with this?
Yeah. I mean, it does show that Connie is pretty inept. And I think that might have been the point to a certain extent. But then
I guess so, yeah.
You can't make him inept and make him absolutely immoral for someone to actually
He's so trashy. I'm like, oh, this guy sucks.
Yeah. Okay, 2 stars for both of us on Good Time.